San Miguel. Quite often my choice of beer is determined by what's on offer at the store. Yesterday being the 16th of August, in case you're watching this, not today, was the East of Scotland Model Show, which is IPMS. It's hosted by IPMS Dundee in Dundee, so it's the Dundee Model Show. And our merry troop, the Eastbrook Model Club, we go along, we have a table, a display and all that kind of nonsense. As well as a few traders, and one of the traders was a model shop from Glasgow. In fact, I think it's the, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the only model shop left in Glasgow. It's called Jameson's. It's one of those old-fashioned type stores, you know. It's a corner shop with a window here and a window here and a door on the corner, and you go in and it's floor to ceiling model kits and wall to wall as well. And they had a whole load of stuff to, you know, being a trader as they would, be kind of pointless otherwise. And one of our band said, "Have you seen Jameson's have the new Revell Corsair?" And I, for some strange reason, I just immediately thought 1/32, but it's not. It's a new 1/72, a new tool 1/72 scale F4U-1A Corsair. That's the model that had, I think, the first one to have the blown perspex canopy. It's not a full blown canopy. It still has a bit of framework on it, but it was the next stage up from the birdcage. Now, I had no idea that Revell had released a new tool Corsair. You know, when Airfix bring out a new kit, there's as much pomp and flair as there is for a Hollywood movie, a mega, you know, blockbuster. Revell is kind of like a rabbit pellet being ejected. Now, that's not to say that there hasn't been a lot of fuss about this, it's just that I haven't seen said fuss. So, 3 of us actually bought it, and I felt compelled to share it with you guys. Duty bound, you might say, because it is an astonishing little kit. So come and have a look and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Right, okay, so here we have the box, which is fairly standard Revell fare. But the one thing I want to draw your attention to is this little white sticker. The one that has the numbers 650. £6.50 is what this cost. Now, I don't know what that translates to in your currency. You'll have to do the calculations yourself. But I don't think it's going to be an awful lot. Now, the thing is, Jameson's, the company that I bought this from, actually recognise IPMS members, and I got an additional 10% off this. So I actually paid £5.85 for it. But £6.50 for any kit's good value. For a brand new tooling, it is exceptional value. And indeed it does actually say here, 2014 Revell Germany, made in Poland. Anyway, so let's have a look at the plastic. The thing that really caught our attention when we went across to the oh, seriously? My life. That caught our attention when we took it out of the stash was the weight. This box is very, very heavy, and there is no compression. Okay, it's plastic, I mean I can obviously crush it flat, but there's technically no compression on the cardboard at all, which means it is full of stuff. So without further ado, let's have a look and see what it's full of, shall we? Incidentally, it did have one of these in it, which is, well, it's not particularly thick, but there's a bit of weight to it, so this would have added to it. Just build your dream, Revell. So as you can see, it's white plastic, which, okay, it could have been worse. It could have been dark blue, I suppose. Although in saying that, blue plastic, or dark blue plastic, or dark plastic, it makes it a lot easier to see things like seam lines and any surface sort of defects. It can be quite tricky with white. The instructions, nothing new to see here either. It's fairly sort of standard Revell fare A4 sheet. Now, here's the thing. And this is my opinion and my opinion only. But I'm not even allowed to my own opinion. I don't like Revell. I don't like Revell. He obviously does, but I don't like Revell instruction sheets. I just feel like I've kind of opened a Marvel comic or something. It just has that comical, pardon the expression, look about it, just the way that each section is laid out, 1, 2, 3, up to 4, down to 5, and you've got this broken line in between them. I mean, a speech bubble with the words kapow wouldn't look out of place. And yes, I know kapow is usually associated with Batman, and Batman is the DC universe, not Marvel, but let's not go there, shall we? So, and also, and this is nitpicking. This is nitpicking. I do accept this. I just find that their drawings are very heavy and they're very cluttered. There's a lot going on in them. I'm not saying that I can't follow them, but it just makes it look cluttered. Remember like the trumpeter instruction sheet where there was lots of white and it was very clear and precise, and it's cluttered up with things that I don't think it needs to be cluttered up with. For example, something that Revell's very fond of doing is telling us what sections to refer to. I mean, here it's saying in section number 7 that this wing section belongs to process part number 6. No, I know that. I've just built the damn things. I've just stuck them together. I know that that's those ones. I don't need to be told that. So it's superfluous information, I think. And their colour callouts, this typical little sort of what do you call it? Little colour flag thing that relates to this page that you always have to keep going back to because you can never remember what the damn things refer. How difficult would it be just to say interior green there? Now here's another thing that I think it's odd. I'm not going to complain about it, and I'll tell you the reason why. But I do think it's odd that in this day and age, Revell don't have an off-the-shelf pot of US interior green. We still have to take 75% bronze green and 25% yellow in order to make it. Now, you know how I always complain about pre-painted photo etch because it takes a part of the process away from us modelers. It does things for us, and we like to do things ourselves. Well, technically, I suppose what Revell are saying is, well, look, you have to construct the colours as well. I suppose that's a good thing. I mean, I know some guys who actually like to mix their own paints anyway. They get I mean, I know this is going down Rivet Counter Alley, or it's certainly standing at the top corner. They get the FS numbers, the Federal Standard numbers, or the RLM, the Luftministerium numbers, and they mix them up themselves. But you know, each to their own. But anyway, I'm just passing comment on that one rather than opinion. But anyway, as you can see, there are a fair old number of parts in this kit. I can see a 74 here. There's a 75. Any advance on 75? No. Well, say 75 parts. That's not bad for a 1/72 scale kit. Not bad at all. There's 1, 2. Look, a gun sight. Trumpeter, take note. A 1/72 scale kit with a gun sight. Pedals, blah blah blah. 1, 2, 10 parts to the cockpit. That's not bad going. You get side consoles, which I think we use decals on. I think I saw decals for these, and there's obviously a decal for the instrument panel. But a lot of stages, 31 stages in total. 2-part radial engine, that's good, that's always good. Separate wheel hub for the inner hub. I wish they'd done that for the outer hub. But it looks like a one-piece wheel, which is great, because that just means a streamline that we'll have to deal with as opposed to sticking them together and maybe having an offset join. And there's 2 marking options, which both look exactly the same in terms of colour callouts, but just different markings. White 3, white 86, both based in the Solomon Islands. But it's nice, it's a 3-part colour scheme. Presumably, what we've got, K, L and M, which well, I'm guessing will be navy blue, intermediate blue and white. But K is, oh god, it's 90% blue and 10% anthracite. L is 80% grey and 20% blue, and M is 90% white and 10% light green. Okay, what the hell is that then? But let's have a look at the plastic, shall we? That's enough of that paper nonsense. 5 sprues in total, of which the clear part is 1. It's not bagged individually, which is a shame. Oh, that's a bit loose. Which is a shame because there's the possibility of scratching these, which, you know, the carved parts, although I suppose a little polishing cloth or a polishing stick would see to that. Look quite clear. Let's get some text, shall we? A little bit of lensing, a little bit of distortion, but if this makes any sense, it's clean distortion. It's clear, but there is distortion, but nothing that I'm terribly worried about. White plastic, as I said, makes it a wee bit trickier, because I've just built a plane that was white plastic, and it was quite tricky to see things, any defects, until you put the primer on, but it's nice to be able to see that before you do that. Option to have your cowling flaps closed or open, which is nice. And one thing I'm kind of noticing when I took it out there is that the plastic seems wafer thin. Yeah, these cowling flaps, I'll be honest with you, if there was, for example, a photo etch set to replace this, I don't think it would make a great deal of difference. These are exceptionally thin. Well, there is strength in them. I can see the edges have a little bit thicker moulding than the actual flap itself, but very, very thin. That's very nice detail. Well, I mean, you can kind of here's the tone, as it were. And there's some, I don't know if that's meant to be the cylinder heads or the exhaust system, but there is detail behind the cowling flaps, which is another very nice touch. There's the engine. Where did I see the other part? There it is there, the Pratt & Whitney there. And it's an R2800 that's in this. Yeah, there's, yep, there we go, look, that's the front section there, and we've got pushrod detail as well as some very nice cooling fin detail. There's the interior of the wheel covers. Look at that, that's absolutely beautiful. I've got a 1/48th scale version of this, the Tamiya one, and I've got every aftermarket kit available for it. I haven't built it yet, but I've got a Neres resin set of interior wheel covers. These will give them a run for the money. Hold these up to the light. I'm just holding them up to the light, and I can see where the plastic is very, very thin. Good on you, Revell. You've done a damn good job here. There's some wheel well detail. You can see there the ribs on the interior of the wheel wells. What's the cockpit like? Well, we do get, as I say, the side consoles. There's the instrument panel, and there's some bulkhead detail there as well. So with a wash, that might show up. And there's the intakes on the wings leading edge, and there's some fin detail in there. Look at that. Look at that. I'll angle this right. Look at those panel lines on the gun bays. I'm telling you, that seriously would not look out of place on 140. Actually, hang on. Here's that pink MiG thing that I got from Sam that I'm working on. Yeah, as I sit here, the panel lines on the 1/44th scale MiG are actually heavier than the panel lines on the 1/72nd scale Corsair. So, top marks are Revell for that. This kit is faultless. The wheel struts look superb. The oleo struts are moulded as part of it, but they're present. There's the control stick. There's the seat, and I think it's they give us decals for the seat harness. Which, you know what, at 1/72nd scale that probably would be okay. I wouldn't use them at any other scale. Here's the decals here. Yeah, there they are. Look. I might see if I can get away with these. I know Edward do their new super fabric decal seat harnesses in 1/72nd and for the US Air Force and US Navy aircraft. But you know what, I'll give these a try and I'll see what they look like. The decals for the instrument panels are nice. I noticed that the instrument panel did have recessed dials, so with some careful placement and some good setting solution, that might look just the bee's knees. These consoles, I noticed, had raised detail on them, so that would be very, very difficult to use these decals on that unless you obviously scrape that away. But I think I might be more inclined to paint these and not bother using these. Quite a bit of stencil data, as well as your Hamilton standard propeller markings as well. That's good. I'm glad they've done that. And you know what, as I angle this in the light, aside from the lettering, I don't see any carrier film whatsoever. Look at that, that is absolutely fantastic. Revell have done an astoundingly good job on this kit, I have to say. And I'll be honest with you, although I have a shelf of doom that's starting to look like a small model shop itself, I think I might get started on this one quite quick. Is that the antenna mast? I don't know. Oh, that's the pitot tube. Wow! Look at that, that is absolutely tiny. There's the antenna mast there, there's the tail wheel. Incredibly well moulded. And I noticed, look, all the detail, interior detail on the tail wheel. I know it is quite sort of spacious on the Corsair, but it's just good that they've thought about it. Ejector pin marks, none near where we need to be worried about. I noticed on the wheel wells they're dotted around, but nothing anywhere near the wheel well itself. Nothing in the cockpit. Absolutely fantastic, Revell. Well done. Yep, I would certainly recommend this kit to anybody, to be honest. Revell seemed to have... There's the drop tanks. Look how thick that plastic isn't. Again, I don't know if the camera's going to pick up, but these are exceptionally thin. And there's the separate, we'll get separate wheel hubs. It's the inner wheel hubs. I wish, I'm not complaining about this one little bit, but it would have been nice to have the outer wheel hubs as a separate part as well, so that you could paint them separately from the wheel. But the wheel is one piece, so aside from probably a very slight seam mould, we don't have to worry about offset joins and whatnot. We're having to stick two halves of a wheel together. Absolutely fun. Oh yeah, there we go, look. Revell, Germany, angle this properly, 2014. Even tells you that it's a Corsair and 1/72 scale. There seems to be some detail going on the rudder, sorry, on the vertical stabilizer, not the rudder. So I don't know quite why they've done that. I don't know if we're going to be able to see anything there. I need to check back on the instructions, but this looks like a beautifully made kit. Absolutely fantastic. Some lovely fabric detail there, and those panel lines are just exemplary. I would certainly recommend this kit, and at that price you cannot argue. You cannot argue, so I want to see some builds of this, guys. Come on, get out there and get this bought. No excuse not to. Cheers, my dears.